So, as it comes to the end of another year, we think it's a good idea to look back on the year, and especially when it comes to photography. I think a lot of us probably don't appreciate our own work enough and get caught up with what the next thing is going to be or how we can do better next time. But taking the time to stop and look back through what you have created in the year, I think can really allow you to appreciate the process. Because more than likely you will have improved, and you'll probably be able to see that, as well as during that time captured photos that will bring back memories, which is always nice to look back on. As there is 12 months in the year, we thought that would make a good number of photos to flick through in this video. Unfortunately, it isn't one for each month, which would have been quite satisfying, but what can you do? So let's take a look back at 2021 and some of our favourite photos. Test.
That's 4 claps. So it took us a while to figure out the top 12 photos of the year, and we had to try and figure out what way we were going to do that. So we decided that Chris would pick his favourite 12, I would pick my favourite 12, and then we would compare lists and see if there were photos on there that were the same, or we kind of had a discussion as to what the final photo should be, because it was definitely difficult, which is a good thing.
It was quite tough. There was probably a lot more than I thought, and yeah, it took us a while to narrow down to 12 photos, but we did it. And
I was just going to add that we definitely did not just rearrange this entire living room to make this shot.
So hopefully it looks nice. We've completely ruined our living room space. Anyway, let's roll into photo number 1 from 2021.
So let's kind of just jump back to the beginning of the year, when we got some really heavy snow here in Ireland, which was really, really fun. Really fun to shoot in, I have to say. Really fun to take photos in, fun to take videos in. It just kind of adds a whole different element to it. So yeah, that was really fun. So we went on a little forest walk. It's like a little forest trail that leads to the mountains. And Chris actually got this shot towards the end of that little walk. Yeah, this is probably one of my favourite photos from the year. It's one of those photos that when I think if I wanted to make a nice print for my wall, this would be one of those photos that is up there in terms of which one I might choose. I think the snow on the mountains really adds to it, and the little path with the little bridge that was in the foreground just kind of leading round, and then you have some trees and mountains. It is exactly my type of shot, and yeah, I'm just happy with how it turned out. And I love little paths like that where we go and take photos. Just my cup of tea. And at that time also, we actually did a couple of little hikes in the snow around that time, and we decided to take
We tried to.
We tried to, yeah, that's true. It wasn't always successful, but we decided to take a few portrait. That's a new style. Portrait style photos of each other actually, and we try to do that when we're out on hikes or little trips or whatever, to try and get some photos of each other, because you can sometimes be too focused on your surroundings and getting the things around you that sometimes you forget to take the photos of each other.
This is actually something we talked about in a video before, that it's all well and good getting the landscape photos, but you also want to include yourself in them for memories, and it also adds a different aspect of photos having someone in them.
Yeah, so I like these portraits of us.
I mean, this is kind of two photos, so we've already kind of broke the rule of the 12 photos, but it was literally in the same place.
So this next one for me is probably one of my favorites, I would say. I don't know if it's the favorite, but it's definitely up there. And it's the nighttime photo where we went out at night to capture some long exposure shots, and we got some really cool shots of the night sky, and added me into it as well. So this one is probably one of my favorites, and it's actually the background for my laptop.
It actually is. I mean, we had to include it when you're literally looking at it every day.
Yeah.
So this was our first chance at trying some astrophotography, and yeah, I just thought it would be cool. We seen a few pictures that were a little bit inspiring to try, and this is why we went for the one with Christina on the little rock. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, and it's something that I think we need to try again. Okay, so this next one is a little bit different. It's not a landscape, it's not a portrait of either of us. It is a portrait of a cow, a Highland cow to be specific. When we were going on a few different photo trips, we drove by these Highland cows and we just knew that we wanted to get photos of them. And a few days we went out and we couldn't get to where they were like halfway up the mountain. So whenever we spotted them along the road one day, we pulled in and spent about a good hour and a half taking photos of Highland cows. I mean, they're just the coolest animal, and they literally stand there and pose for photos.
They actually do. They pose for the photos, and we often see Highland cows a lot around our home, so they've kind of become like I feel like they're my friends, and I just want to capture photos of them and put one on my wall. I want a Highland cow on my wall.
Yeah, so that's where this photo came from, and there is another one with it that I took, but this one was by Christina. Yeah, just a great photo. Okay, so for the next one or two photos, we just couldn't decide, so we just had to include both of them, and it's from a place that we have become quite familiar with over the past few months, and that is Musselton Temple and the downhill. How's it you pronounce?
Domain.
Domain. If anybody knew how to pronounce that while looking at the word, fair play to you. So we've been at Musselton a few times. This was actually our second time, although it was from the same little trip when we came up here. And this was at sunrise, and we got one of the best sunrises I think we've ever been at for taking photos. I just love how that whole video turned out that we made at the time, and pretty much every photo that we took. This one with Musselton Temple and the little dandelions, which were everywhere, but in this little patch there was just one that still had the, I don't know if that's the seeds or the little head on it.
Must be the last one of the season.
Yeah. And I just thought it made for a very minimal photo, and just really happy with how it turned out. And then the other shot is from inside the downhill domain, which I just really love taking photos of. I was actually back there recently again, and we went there for the Halloween video too. So yeah, that photo with the sun just hitting the entrance, framed by the like arch in the inside, is yeah, just a photo I really like. Really minimal, sort of my style of photo. I just thought I'd mention, by the way, we are trying out the lapel mics because we're quite far away from the camera. We've tried to make it a little bit less echo in here, but I'll do my best. Hopefully it sounds okay.
So moving into the sort of summer months, we started to see a little bit of sunshine, which was nice.
It's always nice after a cold winter. And
to be fair, this little trip that we did to Portaferry gave us a lot of really good photos. There was a lot in this little weekend that we went there, and it was hard to decide which ones to choose from this session. But I think the drone shot has to be up there as one of our favorites. Especially for me. I think maybe I prefer this one more than you do.
There's actually a few drone shots from this exact session, but yeah, I think this one, yeah, it has a look about it.
From this one, to me, just kind of like, I don't know, I just look at it and I go, that's Ireland. Like, that's where I live, that's my home. Like, I feel such a connection to this photo.
Yeah, this is Ireland on a really good day. So a nice sunrise, a little bit of haze, a lot of greens, and the water actually looks reasonably blue for a change. A little bit of an edit in there, but it did look pretty damn nice at the time. And yeah, it's always fun getting the drone up and getting aerial shots of places, because obviously you don't see them when you're just driving around or when you're walking around. So when you send the drone up and you get to see what everything looks like from above and try different compositions and stuff, it's, I don't know, refreshing, I would say is the word. It's like photography, but from a completely different perspective.
And that's one thing that we got to do more of this year was drone photography, because we actually only got our drone like towards the end of last year or the start of this year. So we've been able to use it now for a full year, and being able to add those photos into our collection has been really fun.
We use the Mavic Mini 2, by the way, in case any of you are wondering, and we do have quite a few videos sort of explaining our process and stuff if you're interested. They'll maybe be on screen somewhere. Okay, so as Christina said, we got quite a few sessions, quite a few photos from this session, and we could have picked more than 2, but we had to just keep it to 2. And the second one is this shot of the little fence and the road in the foreground, and just extremely cute little boat with the trees and stuff in the background. This is exactly the type of scenes I'd be looking for when we're walking around little towns like this and when we visit places. And I think this might have actually been on the first day we were there. I think it was actually in the evening time, and we had just pulled over. You have to get a ferry across, and we had just pulled in, and yeah, I think it might have been like one of the first shots I took. And yeah, exactly what I like to see when I'm in a place, and just a minimal shot. Yeah, I like how that one turned out.
So there's no doubt that here in Ireland, the sun doesn't hang around for too long, and before you know it, the rain is here and the rain is back. And we've experienced a lot of rain this year, and it made it difficult to go out and try and get photos and go on photo walks and stuff. And this next photo shoot kind of was, we did it because of that reason, because we're like, right, we can't get out to take photos, so what could we do here at home? And this little photo shoot kind of inspired that, and we thought, well, we could take some product shots of our camera, of our Fuji, because I mean, it is a good looking camera.
It is.
So we thought we should really get some cool photos of it, and we did that at home.
It's not the greatest photo ever. The product photography is definitely something that I want to try a bit more of, and I think it's fun, especially because you don't need to rely on the weather, like you said. But yeah, it's just in there because it's a photo of the camera that we've used a lot this year and has definitely been just such a nice little camera to use for photo and for video, and we're definitely going to be using it a lot more going forward. And yeah, just really enjoyed using it. It was a great purchase for us, and yeah, changing over to Fujifilm is just been fun, enjoyable to use, and just thought we would include it because that's what pretty much all of the photos from this video were took on. Most of them, I think.
Yeah, the majority. Well, apart from the drone.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so what number is this?
10?
We're getting there.
I think.
This one is from Hoth Lighthouse in Dublin. We took a few days down there just for a little trip, and again at sunrise took a little drive to Hoth Lighthouse. We had seen some photos of it. We knew it was going to be pretty cool looking, but honestly didn't think it would be as cool as it was. Along with the fact that we got a very nice hazy sunrise as well. Sent the drone up and managed to get this shot, which I love how it turned out. It is the type of drone shots that I love to get, those bird's eye view ones. Normally I don't like taking photos by the coast, but when it comes to drone shots like this, I love how they turn out.
Yeah, it definitely was a really cool area, somewhere where we'd maybe like to go back to. There was so many birds flying around, I remember that morning too, and I actually think there's video footage of on the drone of like birds like flying into the drone. That was actually one moment in time where I'm like, oh no, this drone is not gonna come back. Yeah,
does anyone else have that problem when they're flying their drone? If birds are around, they always seem to like fly just around it. Yeah, it's a little bit sketchy when you just see them flying past on your monitor.
Next is...
Need more tea.
Happy...
Tea, please.
Halloween.
Halloween. Rolling on to one of my favourite times of the year.
Yep, moving into more recent times. Autumn, one of our favourite seasons. To be fair, we didn't get to go out a lot this autumn.
Not as much as we would have liked.
The autumnness, or the tones and the colours. But one thing that we did get to do was to create some really fun Halloween photos. And if you've seen that video, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That was a fun video to make. It involved a lot of driving, involved a lot of wind, a little bit of rain, but yeah, really fun to make. We managed to get quite a few photos that we like. I don't even know what one did we pick out of it for this. We tried to narrow it down, but yeah, there is the one of Karen Du, so this one, which was a light painted one. Light painting is something that we don't do that often, but especially around Halloween, it's creative, it's fun to do, and you get results that you aren't that used to seeing. You can't just go out and quickly snap a light painted shot. Cool outcome, I like how that one turned out. And then the other one that I like from the Halloween video is the ones from Lisclune Castle, which had is a really old castle, has a really old wall around the front and the tree, as I'm sure you're seeing right now in those clips. But yeah, and again, a lot of birds which were flying around the drone.
A lot of birds.
But they add it to the shot. I mean,
yeah.
You can't have crows flying around and it not look like Halloween.
We watched back that video yesterday and kind of actually made me think, or you think, I can't believe I actually stood there in the pitch black dark at night trying to capture a shot of this really scary, creepy building, and like, yeah, we could have seen some ghosts.
It was eerie. It's kind of in the middle of a forest.
I'm not doing that again.
It was worth it for the shot though. Okay, so the black and white photo that I just showed you from Les Clune, and we ended up taking a few other ones during that Halloween video just because we felt like black and white worked very well for the locations we were in, and it kind of changed how I feel about black and white. Normally it's not something I was particularly drawn to until we took these photos. I just like how they turned out, and it kind of got me intrigued to try it in a few different scenarios. And that leads on to this next photo where I used a Fujifilm film simulation, specifically codec Tri-X, in case any of you are wondering, in a recent video where I went to the beach. And yeah, I just explained in the video how the beach doesn't really normally appeal to me for photos, and I always find it tricky and I just don't get the outcome I wanted. And I tried black and white and I did get the outcome I wanted, or at least I liked the photos, and this is probably my favorite from the session. So I would recommend any of you, if you're getting a little bit stuck in your photography routine or you're not feeling inspired, maybe try something different. Maybe try a black and white film simulation and just give it a go, because you never know what you might like, and it might completely change the way you're shooting and the way you think about stuff, which I think this kind of has done for me. I don't think you really like black and white, do you?
Not particularly. I mean, this was definitely,
you need to try it.
Definitely your pick on the list here. But as you said, it is good to try something different to see what you
I just feel like
think.
I just feel like I had to include it. It's not the greatest photo of the year, but I feel like the message behind it is a good one. Just try different things. Okay, so that was the last one, and
I think that was 12.
Because we have so many, we have a few honourable mentions, and again we try to keep this to a few because we could have included a lot more.
And we're not going to talk about these because we probably blabbered on enough for one video, but here's a few honourable mentions from 2021.
And that is pretty much it for our little recap, little look back at a year of photography.
It's nice to look back.
2021. Yeah, I think it is kind of cool to look back through your photos. Like I said at the start of the video, I think at times you can think at the end of the year, I didn't achieve as much as I would have liked to at the start of the year. And maybe if the last month or so didn't go that well, it makes the whole year kind of feel like it just wasn't great. But when you look back at what you've done, it might end up being a lot more than you think. I think 2021 was a pretty decent year. More sun would have been nice here in Ireland.
Yeah.
A little less rain, but I think that's going to be the same story for many years to come.
So I'm not sure if this will be our last video of the year. There might be another one after this. It could be, I don't know. Either way, we just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has come along with us this year, supported the channel, watching the videos, leaving comments for us, and just a big thank you to everyone. We couldn't make videos without you, so thank you. Yeah, we really do appreciate all the support. We look forward to making a lot more content for you guys in 2022. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Here's to 2022. Is that it? I believe so. So for the last time in 2021, possibly. As we always say, guys, take it easy. Don't be a stranger. Definitely need more tea. Kettle on. It's not even full.